Hi, this is Marcus Bruno with SpringHomeSearch.com, and I'm with Susan Gonzalez of Liberty Mutual, and we're going to talk about homeowners insurance. So the biggest question that my clients have usually is, should I carry flood insurance if I'm not in the flood zone?
Yeah, that's a very good question, and I get asked that a lot. In Houston, especially in the Houston area, south, even north, I mean, our elevation is really low. If you are not in a flood zone, then you can carry $250,000 worth of coverage, $100,000 for contents, and the price is usually it's $450 a year for it. Okay. Years gone by, I would not have recommended they should get flood insurance, but since the past storms that we've had, there's been so much development in the area that a lot of the flooding that we had last year was man-made. So really think about it. It's a small investment to protect your largest investment, and check with the neighbors. But yeah, we advise everybody to get flood insurance now. I never had it before this year.
Especially if they live in Harris County.
Oh, absolutely.
So you said $450. That's on top of the regular standard homeowners insurance.
It is. Your hazard, or otherwise known as homeowners insurance, does not cover rising water. Okay. Your homeowner's policy will only cover water that originates in your house.
And what other things does homeowners insurance cover? I'm assuming fire, things of that nature, wind damage.
It does. And for us, the easiest way for me to explain what our policy covers is to tell you what it doesn't cover. So Liberty Mutual, there's basically 4 things that we will not cover. Okay. Earthquake and flood. Earthquake can be added as an endorsement to the policy. Flood, of course, we can write that for FEMA. Termites, and any damage that your own pets might cause.
Okay.
But basically, under our standard policy, everything else is covered.
Can they add a termite endorsement? I'm not a termite, a pet endorsement?
Well, no, we don't have any kind of pet endorsements.
Okay.
I know that they're looking at doing some of that stuff, but no.
Okay.
No, but we will cover it if your neighbor's dog does something to your house.
Okay, just not your own.
Just not your own.
So let's get back to flood insurance.
Sure.
So I heard, the 100-year floodplain and the 500-year floodplain. What is that?
Okay, so when FEMA developed their floodplains, they have different codes for different areas. So they outline the flood area, and they have your X zone, which is not in a flood zone, considered at a very low risk. Okay. Then they have the X100, which means that out of 100 years, they think that it has the opportunity to flood once every 100 years. And then the 500 flood zone, which is once every 500 years. Okay. I always advise my clients that if you are in an X100 or 500, you probably should go ahead and do it.
Okay.
And in the X zone, if you're in Harris County, definitely do it. If you're out further north, really just look at the surrounding area. Talk to your neighbors, and it's a small investment, and you only have to carry it for a year.
And the cost is the same whether it's in a 100-year or 500?
It is.
Okay.
It is. Well, if it's in an X100 or X500, it's still in a preferred risk area. But they're just kind of, that X100 would probably be the next one that they might fold into an AE area. Okay.
So let's talk about prior claims. How do I find out if the home that I intend on buying has a prior claim, and then will you guys still cover it if it does?
Good question. The best thing to do is you can give me a call. What I can do is run what we call a clue report. Clue report is a comprehensive loss underwriting exchange that all the insurance carriers use, and it documents all the claims, and we go back about 5 years. Okay. So if you're looking at a property that maybe it's a foreclosure, or they've had just beautiful lots of new floors and everything done, and they're not disclosing that, and you have some doubts, then absolutely, just give me a call. I can run that report, see if there's been any claims in the last 5 years, homeowners. Now, if it's flood that you're looking for, I can't pull up anything about prior flood claims. That would have to come directly from the homeowner to contact FEMA. Okay, to get that information. But that's good information. Anybody who's thinking about selling their house should go ahead and do that. And one other thing about homeowners, a lot of the flood zones have changed, And if they do not, if you don't have a mortgage on your home, you may not know that your area is now in a flood zone.
Okay.
So whether you're a realtor or a home person who's selling their home, you should definitely, you can give me a call. I'll check it for you, see if it's in a flood zone. If it is in a flood zone, then depending on when the house was built, you're going to have an elevation certificate to be able to sell that house and get flood insurance.
Oh, wow.
So always best to find out early,
Okay.
so that there's no surprises there.
Right, so I can imagine that could kill a deal.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So if there is a prior claim,
Mhm.
does that affect the rate that your company will charge?
With some companies, it will.
Mhm.
With some companies, they look at the home and they look at prior claims that are on that home, and they may not insure it just based on the prior claims.
Okay.
Now, at Liberty Mutual, we do things a little bit differently. What we do is we look at the homeowner. Any of the claims that were on the house that were before they purchased it, we do not surcharge for those.
Oh, okay.
But on the flip side of that,
Mhm.
if you had claims in your home that, let's say you sold your home and you moved down to Texas, those claims are going to be taken into account on the purchase of your new
Okay.
home.
Okay.
Okay. So, kind of getting into a little bit of the claims, just kind of an FYI, the worst claims that you can have are water claims and theft claims or mysterious disappearances. It's important to have a really good relationship with your insurance agent so that you guys can decide, is this really worth minus my deductible, what I'm going to get back, and what the effect could have on my future insurance.
You know, I remember listening to you speak before about even calling your insurer and mentioning that you might do a claim. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah. So the internet insurance companies and the Geicos and the Esurance and all that, they all work from a central call center. Well, every single one of those calls are recorded. Every single one of those calls have to be documented. When you have an independent agent, or when you have an agent that you can just pick up the phone and call, they can give you advice. And, even just a call could have an impact on the rate. It's something for the insurance companies to look at and say, they had a possibility, or there might be something wrong with that house and they didn't pay the claim, but they thought there was hail damage on that roof.
Wow,
So,
it's good to know. Deductibles. Can you explain what are deductibles? How do they affect us? What should we look out for?
Okay. Yeah, deductibles. I guess I'll start off by, in Houston, basically right now, the lowest deductible you can get on a named hurricane or a named storm is going to be 2%. Okay? Some companies, the lowest deductible that you can get on wind and hail and tornado, anything else that Mother Nature might have in store for us, is going to be 2%. In Harris County, closer, downtown, they may even go much higher than that.
And 2% of?
Now, yes. So deductibles are 2% or 1% of what they're insuring your home for.
Okay.
Okay? And that's really important to look at when you're, working with an agent. Is a lot of times some agents will run through the coverage and the cost, and then they'll say your deductible is 2%. And these poor first-time homeowners who don't know anything, they're thinking that it's 2% of the bill. So 2% of having their roof replaced at $7,000, they're thinking they're only going to have to pay $1,400 or $140 or whatever it is, and it's not.
So it's 2% of the perceived value of their home.
The replacement cost of their home.
Okay.
Yes.
So if it's a $200,000 home, their deductible is $4,000.
Exactly.
Wow.
Right.
Okay. Susan, what should we look for in an insurance carrier? What makes you guys different, or insurance carriers different? I know rates are different with every carrier. They
are all over the board. So you cannot look for an insurance company based on what the annual premium is, okay? There's a lot of hidden factors in there. So let me tell you about Liberty Mutual. We only write one kind of policy. It's an HO3. It's the most comprehensive policy that's available in the marketplace. We are full replacement cost on not only your home, but also your personal property. So if it came time for a claim, we are not going to depreciate it. Say your roof is 10 years old. Some companies will depreciate the roof, and the deductible we were talking about, then less your deductible, and you may get only $2,000 for your roof. Okay, so full replacement cost you absolutely want. You also want a policy that is all peril, not listed peril. Okay, so in all peril, when I talked earlier about the 4 things that we don't cover, so really with our policy, if it is not specifically excluded, we cover it. With listed peril policies, it has to be specifically listed in the policy for it to be covered.
At the time that you took out the policy?
Yes.
Okay.
Oh, that's a good point, because you get endorsements on renewal sometimes, and you have to read that fine print. I've seen it where they've changed deductibles, where they've changed a full replacement cost policy to an actual cash value policy. Something else about our policy, is that we cover, as I mentioned, okay, so I told you the things that we cover, which the only things we don't cover: earthquake, flood, termites, any damage your own pets do. But it's really, really important to make sure that you have good water damage coverage, okay? Our policy, we will cover water damage to the full extent of whatever we insure your home for. This is a little sticky too. Some companies will cover one of these 3 categories, or maybe 2, but not many cover all 3. So we cover accidental discharge of water, backup of sewers and drains, and slow leaks. Okay? And we cover it, as I mentioned, to the full extent of the policy. Most companies will cap it at $5,000 or $10,000.
Oh, wow.
Okay? So it's really important. A good place for you to look. Well, let me just share this with you. Liberty Mutual is kind of that's my guiding star. I know what kind of policy it is. It's a good policy. It's the best that you can buy. But I do have an opportunity. I have 15 other carriers that I can quote. They're all A-rated companies. So I can shop the rate for you, look at the coverages, make sure, and I'm comparing it to the best, and based on that rate, I can add endorsements to make that policy as good as Liberty Mutual, or if there's just no way, I can make sure that you understand, okay, I'm only going to pay $1,200 for this policy, but this is the risk I'm taking by doing so.
Right.
And that's where I get so upset with other agents, because they don't explain this up front.
Right.
Whereas if you come to me, I'm your advocate. I'm going to make sure you have the right coverage for your home, because I would never want to be in that position.
Right. So it's a difference between being a salesperson and then being a consultant.
That's the way I'd like to think of myself.
So when you're shopping for coverage, look for replacement costs,
Replacement cost?
whether it's full peril or
All peril?
all peril. Okay. And then what kind of water damage coverage they
What
get.
kind of water damage?
Awesome.
Yes.
Well, I know you guys have been blessed by this information. Susan, I want to thank you so much for joining me. What's a good number for anyone who is interested in asking you questions? What's a good number to reach you on?
The best number to reach me is my direct number, which is 832-339-3243.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for watching. This is Marcus Bruno signing off with SpringHomesearch.com.